You guys have been demanding that we get hold of this retro handheld console for probably a good 3 to 4 weeks now, and admittedly it's been out for probably a month or two, so this is an old review, but this is their version 2, which is slightly updated, a slightly better screen, and it comes in at the $50 price range. So its competitors are the LDK and the BitBoy crew. If you haven't seen videos on that, check them out. The previous video I did was on the best retro handhelds in my opinion, so if you want to see the top 10, go over there and check it out. But this one's new on the block, so I can't really chuck it in there, and I've got a couple more coming in as well, so definitely subscribe if you want to see more retro handheld reviews. And this is the Retro Game 300, and in my opinion, it's one of the best in the $50 price range, but it does have issues. So let's take a look at the box, the unit itself, and then we'll go on to the emulation. So here it is. This is what you get when you pick up the Retro Game 300. You get some specs here. It does have a 3-inch screen, which is quite large. One of the benefits of picking up a $50 handheld. It comes with 1800 milliamp battery, super tempered glass. It supports games like the Game Boy Advance, Super Famicom, SNES, Sega, NES, Game Gear, and a ton more. I think the only ones it doesn't play is like the N64 and stuff like that. You get some specs on the side here, and it tells you what you get in. So this one is the gray one. It's kind of gone for like the SNES look, as you can probably tell in a minute. So the box is, you know, your standard Chinese product box here. They are getting a little bit better in terms of quality. So here is the handheld itself. This is the Retro Game 300. We'll put that to the side, and in the box you get that's all Chinese, so I can't read that. You get a user manual. You know, you're not really going to need this. You get your AV cable if you want to plug it into your TV, and you get your micro USB-C charging cable, because that is what it's using now, which I really dig. I have a ton of USB-C cables. Micro USB is old technology, so it's good to see that these guys are now chucking in USB-C cables and ports into this thing. So put that aside. Here is the handheld itself. I'll do a little zoomy for you guys. Here it is. Apologies for the fingerprints. And design-wise, in my personal opinion, I love it, but there are some features I absolutely hate. Now, this is a personal preference. I'm just going to go over what I hate about this quickly. These buttons. Like, what the hell were they thinking when they put, like, this terrible Times New Roman font in the buttons? I would have ideally liked it like on the actual shell, or not even at all. Like, I don't really need them. As a retro gamer, I know what to press, and just having this really disgusting font on the inside of these buttons really puts me off. I don't know why. That's just a personal pet peeve. Let me know in the comments below if that annoys you as well. It might just be me, but it kind of, you know, degrades the whole retro look, in my opinion. I wish they were able to like send you out replacement buttons like the BitBoy Pocket Go did, so you can change them up. The screen is okay in terms of like the size. It's perfect. Playability, it's great. It's saturated. But the problem with viewing angles is a little poor as well. But I'll be honest, you're gonna play, you know, like this the whole time. So, you know, viewing like that isn't really gonna be a necessity when picking this up. So that's just a slight problem in my opinion, but hey, the screen's pretty good, I'm not gonna lie. In terms of D-pad and the other buttons and stuff, absolutely fine. Have I charged this? That would be very embarrassing. Okay, good, there we go. The D-pad and the start select buttons are fine. You know, it's your typical cheap plastic, but that's what you get when you pick up a $50 handheld. At the bottom, you get your AV cable port and your USB-C port. On the back here is where it gets nice. You get your large battery, and I will admit, this lasts a very long time. I've been playing this on and off for a few days, and it's still going strong. It's like one of those handhelds that I think you can chuck in your bag, and then in a week's time, it's still got some battery, and you're like, what is this? Is this part Nokia or something? So battery life is really good on this thing, and as you can see at the back as well, it's got these shoulder buttons, which a lot of you like, and I'll be honest, these are one of the best shoulder buttons I've seen on a retro handheld unit. These feel absolutely great. They're responsive. The clicky sound isn't annoying, and they're in the right place as well. Like, this is a very comfortable handheld, and the way they've integrated in the shoulder buttons is probably perfect in my opinion. You've got like some, like the LDK, which is at the top here. Ideally, you'd want it down here. So the guys over at Retro Game have been like, why not put them on the back where everybody wants them? And bang, they did that, and it's perfect placement, and there's some very, very good shoulder buttons. And they do actually advertise it on the front of their box, OMROM shoulder button. So, you know, they've actually taken that into consideration. So they are listening to what we say, which is really good. Coming back to the front, you know, it's got that SNES design, and it's the perfect size. So this is a chunky handheld. Like, it's not, you can fit it in your pocket, I'll admit. It's not like the BitBoy Pocket Go where it's literally just chuck in your pocket, you won't even notice it. This is a handful of a handheld, and that's what I dig about it a lot. It's perfectly sized, and for an adult hand, absolutely comfortable. Now, another annoying thing I have about the actual hardware of this product is the volume rocker. Now, you probably can't see it, but this volume rocker, or volume wheel, sorry, it's barely coming out of the shell. So to get to it, you really need to like push quite hard and use your nail. Now, I'll quickly go into a game because one thing I've noticed about this Retro Game 300 is that I don't know if it's just my unit, but you can't get a quiet setting on here. It's either nothing or very loud. I don't know if you can hear this. I'll hold it near my mic. So this is off, and I'll try and like turn it up just a little. So this is quite loud. Like, this is. So my girlfriend, when I was playing this, was actually like, can you turn that down? And it was at the quietest setting possible. And even when I turn it down a little bit, it just goes off completely. So you've either got quiet, no, you don't even have quiet, sorry, you either have nothing, loud, or extremely loud. So that's quite annoying for me. If I want to play just enough so I can hear it, not to annoy anyone in my living room, you can't. So that's one thing I hope they upgrade soon, is like the volume. So it might be just my unit, but I'm reviewing what I've bought, and it's, you know, it's loud or nothing. So that's a bit annoying, but in terms of quality of the speaker, really good actually. You know, this is a very good speaker in here, so they've done great. And I think that's it in terms of design. As mentioned, probably one of the most comfortable handhelds out there that use like this Game Boy Color aesthetic instead of like what I class as the Game Boy Advance aesthetic, where it's wide grip instead of short grip. But it's perfect, like the grip and everything, the shoulder buttons is well placed, the buttons are well placed. It's a damn comfortable handheld. So, in terms of emulation, it can emulate most of your ROMs very, very well. And I'll be honest, one of the better emulators out there. I've had very little issues in terms of most ROMs I play. The only problem I have is, and I mention this in a lot of my retro handheld reviews, is PlayStation 1 ROMs. Now, it does plays them okay, but it's not perfect. And it annoys me where they start adding in these emulators or these like consoles that they can't play really well, but they just want you to like play the really small 2D games. But in my personal opinion, if you're putting in a PlayStation 1 ROM, I'm going to play like Crash Bandicoot or Spyro straight up. So that's a bit annoying that they can't play that very well, but we'll get on to that. So let's just try the Game Boy Advance emulator here. You guys know I love my Game Boy Advance games. So I simply go into my SD card slot, find my media folder, and then I obviously go down to my Game Boy Advance games. Now, what should we play? Like, I don't know. Ugh. Now, apologies, I'll be playing this through the screen, so I might die a lot. And you can't really see the screen, but it's bright. You know, you've got your brightness settings in here. Oh shit, I just pressed reset. So I'm into the load state now. So in your emulators, you've got a few settings: save game, load state. You've even got a cheat system here. I can come out of that. But there's brightness settings as well. I don't know if you can see. I think there's about 6 different brightness settings. But let's just jump in and I'll show you some gameplay. Whoops. So yeah, there's your Game Boy Advance. No problems at all. It's not slowed down. It's not sped up. I can't see any frame rate drops. It's just a pleasure to play with. There's one or two that I did notice some screen tearing on. But hey, you know, works good. And here is Kirby on the NES. And if I use my left trigger, sorry, I can speed it up. If I need to. But I don't want to. That is just not fun sped up. So there you have it, a quick look at Kirby on the NES. And if what I do here is I just press this button, you come out into the emulation settings and then you just click exit. And then you're back into the menu. So one, obviously a lot of you want to see emulate is the PlayStation 1. Now, this is a touchy subject because most of the games that you want to play on your PS1 won't really work on here. Your 2D games like your Street Fighter and your fighting games and some racing games will work fine, but it's when you get into the 3D territory that things get a little bit, you know, a few frame rate drops. But in terms of like playability, you can play on them. It just might get a little jerky now and then. But let's play, I'm going to choose Spyro here, and I'll show you kind of how it performs. And in all honesty, you can play, but you're getting some frame rate drops, and you can see like the CPU usage and the frame rate at the top there, so you can kind of get an idea of how it's working. But like, it's playable. It's coming in at like 40 frames a second. Audio wise, great. But it's using a lot of the CPU, as it should be, because it's a 3D PlayStation 1 game. But in terms of like moving around, let's take a look. Turn this down a little bit. Like you can see, it's not fluid, but it's definitely, if I wanted to like run around and do stuff and actually play on this thing, apologies if you can't really see. Bang, you know. But in terms of like all the other retro handhelds which I reviewed, this is playing like Spyro at one of the highest settings possible in terms of quality. Like it's playing it quite well for a handheld of this form. So if you want to play 3D games like Spyro here and Crash Bandicoot, you're not going to get silky smooth frames, but it is playable. So take that into consideration. You can play PlayStation 1 ROMs on here, but it's not the best. Now, I think sometimes they just chuck in PlayStation emulation because it can play a few of the old 2D games. Admittedly, it can, but for games like this, which I personally want to play, like Spyro and Crash Bandicoot, doesn't really play. And yes, the Game Boy emulator can do save states, it can do cheats, you can scale the screen, you can add frame skips and all the ghosting stuff. So all the emulators in here do have a ton of settings for you to change up if you want to, and add cheats, etc. So overall, the RG300, in our personal opinion, we're giving it a 7.5 out of 10. Hardware-wise, it is absolutely great. For adults like myself with big hands, this fits perfectly in my palm. It's comfortable when I play for long periods of time, and the shoulder buttons are perfectly placed and one of the best quality shoulder buttons I've seen on a retro handheld so far. Like, they're absolutely perfect and great response rate as well, and they're just clicky and fun to use, you know, and your fingers aren't stressed when you play on them. Screen's great, coming in at 3 inches. The only problem in terms of design wise is these buttons. I really do think they could have, you know, did a bit more TLC on there, and it makes the whole aesthetic look a little bit sloppy as well. Plus the volume rocker issue, you either got no sound or you got loud sound, which is a bit of a problem, but I think that might be this unit, so don't worry about that if you pick one up. And emulation wise, it plays 90% of your ROMs perfectly fine. Game Boys, SNES, you know, you name it, you can play all of your ROMs on here. It's just when you get to the PlayStation 1 ROMs and your big 3D games like Spyro and Crash that it can't play very well. But your 2D games, your racing games, your fighting games, you'll be fine. So if you're into those games on the PlayStation 1, you'll have no problem with playing it on this little handheld here. And overall, it's just a great handheld. You know, I love it. $50, not too expensive, just about right. So we're going to give it a 7.5 out of 10. Almost perfect, but you know, I think a bit of a firmware update and some a new version on the design of the buttons and stuff. I think this could be up there in the 9s. So a great handheld. If you're looking to pick one up, there is a link below. If you rather read a review, we have a review on site. Links below as well. And definitely hit subscribe if you want to see more retro handheld reviews coming up in the near future. As per usual, it's much appreciated you checking out this video. Make sure to share it. If not, I hope to see you in upcoming videos in the future. Peace.